Hey, oh my gosh, it is Friday. I hope you are doing incredible out there. I'll wait for some of y'all to come on Instagram, on Facebook, and all, so I can see what's going on. Hey, it's Financial Friday fun. Let's have some fun. Actually, here's what's going on: is that I've had the show out. The Affluence Blueprint show has been out now for almost a month. That we've been out. It has been off the charts. The feedback that we've gotten, the reviews that we've gotten has been great. But now I'm starting to get some questions, and now some people are reaching out and saying, "Hey, can you help me out? Can you answer some questions?" And so, what I want to do is answer a couple of the questions that have come in on the show: financial questions, money questions, business questions, those kinds of things, to see if I can get you some help. So I'm going to do these as questions come in. I'm going to either use them for questions on the episode. So make sure that if you have financial questions, if you have money questions, if you have wealth questions, if you have entrepreneurship, business questions, hit me up, DM me, send them to me. Let me help. Let me see what we can do to keep you moving forward. Look, the show, the Affluent Entrepreneur Show, is all about you. It's about us scaling your business. It's about us scaling your money. It's about us giving you the pathway to financial independence. Because, as you know, if you followed me for any length of time, you know that I truly believe that financial independence is a birthright. We just need to understand how to claim it. And so, hopefully you have been doing well. I haven't done a live like this for a few days at least, but I've been doing. Yesterday, I actually had to do it. I did a keynote for an organization that was 9 a.m. on the East Coast, which meant that I was live speaking 6 a.m. my time, which meant that I was up at 4 a.m. in prep and prep mode and all that. So it's been crazy fun. Next week, just so you know, I'll probably not be on much, because next week I'm taking some time off. Next week is a celebration week for Stephanie and I. 10 years married. Oh my God. There was a time in my life where 10 minutes was a long-term relationship, and now we're hitting 10 years. So say hello when you're coming in. Let me know where you're coming in from. Is there a trusted resource you have for establishing a special needs trust? Yeah, you know what? I do have my attorney. Thank you. What state are you in? This says the Ness Brown. So let me know what state you're in. So Norma from New York City is coming in. And those of you that are on Facebook, do me a favor, let me know. There should be a link in here for you to approve the ability for me to see who you are. So when you do a comment, I don't have to call you Facebook user. I can actually call you by your name. All right. So good. So here's the deal. I want to answer some questions. I want to hit up, talk about some questions, money questions, wealth questions, business questions that have come in. Some of them have come in. Some people have emailed me, texted me, sent me DMs, and so I'm going to answer those first. Let's see what you have. Jenny Jones is in the house. Welcome. Be naturally lovely. All right, Michigan. So a special needs trust. Let me see if I have an attorney that I do a lot of work with, and they've taken care of my family for a while, and they may be able to do that for you. So DM me, and I'll try to connect you, and let's see what we can make happen for that. So we got the UK in the house. Gosh, it is. It's evening time there. It's got to be like dinner time. I better not. I shouldn't say this. Don't tell my wife. All right, you're in the UK. Don't tell my wife. But her anniversary gift is a trip to the UK. At least one of her anniversary gifts. She's wanted to go back to London for a long time. We haven't been for years. So that's what that's part of what she's getting. So shh, our secret. Don't let anyone know. I got to make sure that she doesn't see this. All right. All right. So here's the thing. Let's talk about some things. First question came in is this, hey, Mel, should I be contributing to a Roth IRA or a regular IRA? Well, this is a great question. So there's some income limitations to contribute to a Roth IRA, but we can backdoor and do all that. So here's the thing. Let me see if I can draw something out for you as we do it. At least those of you on Facebook. We have a tax plan that's going on here. At least it's proposed. Okay, the President Biden's tax plan, and this is not political in any way. This is strictly having to do with the economics of it. Okay, bottom line is that taxes are going to go up. Taxes are going to go up, and they say that it's for people that only make over 400,000, but we don't know whether that people is a single or married. I don't know if it's household or individual. They haven't clarified. There's confusion as to that, but conceivably, taxes are going to go up. So the idea behind a Roth is that I contribute money in, and you can put $6,000 in, and if you're over 50, you can put $7,000 in. I can contribute it in. I don't get a tax deduction today. In other words, I don't save anything today, but it grows tax-free, and I can take that in the earnings out when I retire completely tax-free. So think about this. You get $1 million in an IRA, $1 million in a Roth IRA. When you take the $1 million out of the IRA, you have to pay tax on it. When you take the $1 million out of the Roth IRA, you pay no tax on it. Which one's better? Trick question. But I think you know. So here's the thing. Considering that taxes may be going up and that down the road we may pay taxes, a higher rate of tax, I typically would maximize my Roth if I'm eligible to do so first. So I would maximize the Roth and make sure that I have all that earnings and all that growth. So when I take it out, it's tax-free. That's typically what I would do. Certain circumstances, we wouldn't do that, but by and large, I would go to the Roth first. So that was that question. Another question. They're saving that it's a couple, and they asked the question. James he's in Dallas. He said we're saving for a house, and I want to know where that comes into the pecking order. So we have this hierarchy of how do we allocate our cash? Where does that come into the pecking order, and how do we do it? So this is for a house. This is also for any big purchases. What I want you to look at is, from a financial standpoint, my buddy Anthony Trucks is in the house. We're answering financial questions, money questions, and wealth questions today, my friend. It's so good to see you here. So what we need to think about is, when we make major purchases, I want you to think about using what we call a sinking fund process. So what that means is that if I know that I'm going to buy a car, if I know I'm going to buy a house, and I know that I want to buy the house in 5 years, 10 years, or whenever it is, and I know that I need X dollars to jump in, I set up a savings plan to do that. Now, just so we're clear, if you're sinking in credit card consumer debt, I'm going to ask you to get that paid off first before you start going into more debt. Get yourself out of consumer debt and make sure that you take that debt load off your body, off your shoulders. If you have debt and you're having challenges with the debt, or you're trying to figure out how to get it paid off, then I want you to go to my site, go to melabraham.com/no debt. Okay. I'm not going to pay your debt off for you, but there is a tool that's going to allow you to put your debt in, and it's going to allocate it out, and it's going to figure out what's the fastest way to pay it off and what's the cheapest way to pay it off, so you can have a payment schedule and get yourself on schedule to get the debt paid off. Get yourself out of consumer debt as soon as possible. I want to make sure that you have a peace of mind fund. Some people call it an emergency fund, but I want it to be a peace of mind fund. I want you to have the peace of mind that if God forbid something happens, life happens, like it happened with me, you've got something there to fall back on. So most people will say 3 to 6 months. I'm more conservative, especially if you're an entrepreneur. I want you to have 9 to 18 months. 9 to 18 months. Naomi New York, she has been using the debt calculator and she loves it. Go there. It's free. Come on. melabraham.com/no debt. Let's get you out of debt. So first things first, I'd make sure that you have yourself on a debt payoff plan. Get the debt payoff plan in place. Then make sure that with a debt payoff plan in place, you have your peace of mind fund in place. Now I would start allocating money from a savings account into a high yield cash account. Keep it liquid, keep it safe. You're not going to make a lot on it, but we don't want to lose the money for the house and start putting money away for the house. We're going to use a sinking fund process. You may do that for a car. You may do it for a house. You may do it for vacation. This is how you start to buy things at the speed of cash. Okay? You start to buy things at the speed of cash. And so what we do, because the tendency is we use credit, and we use credit to buy things that we can't afford today. I know, don't give me this whole thing about mileage and I get points and all that stuff. Listen, there isn't a millionaire out there that goes, those points on my United card, they made me wealthy. All right. So bottom line is this, is I want to make sure that you guys do this properly, you do it sustainably, and that you do it well. All right. So saving for a house, we want to make sure that we're out of consumer debt. It's going to help you with qualifying for the loans and that type of thing. Second, another thing to think about is this. If you're looking to buy a house or you're looking to buy a property, first off, real estate is going through the roof. It's crazy right now. So what I don't want you to do is to get caught into the emotional swing of, oh my God, I'm going to lose this opportunity. Okay, this isn't your, as Eminem says, though, it isn't your only opportunity. Okay, it will come back. Things will ebb and flow. Things will cycle. Okay, the fact of the matter is that I don't want you chasing things, because if we're chasing things, we're making emotional financial decisions. We make emotional financial decisions. We make horrible financial decisions. They need to be logical. They need to be sound-based. They need to be thought through. Okay. So here's what I want you to do is that I want you to also, if you have not done this recently, I want you to check your credit report. If you're going to go to buy a house, you need to know what your credit report says. And if the house that you're trying to buy is a couple of years down the road, you have the chance to affect your credit to make it make it better if you need to help you out. So go to freecreditreport.com. You can order your credit report. It does not affect your credit score when you do it. It's not a hard hit. I want you to look at the credit report. I want you to make sure you understand everything that's on there. If there's a mistake or something on there, I want you to get a hold of the credit reporting agencies. There's 3 of them to do that, and start getting the correction in place. Okay, start getting that dialed in, because that's going to impact you. Your credit score will affect the kind of interest rate and the kind of terms you can get on your loan. And don't let a bank tell you can't negotiate your loan terms. Those that know me, everything's negotiable and everything's a negotiation. Okay. I've negotiated my terms on my loan, even though they were published on their website. We got different things. So those are the things that I would do if I was looking at buying a home. And so get yourself ahead of the game. We don't decide to buy a big purchase and then go out and do it tomorrow. We prepare for it. We do it that way. All right. So that was that question. A similar question came in and said, "Hey Mel, I'm thinking about," this is from Sally. She says, "We're thinking about refinancing our home. What do you think about that?" Well, I don't have enough information to answer the question, but let me give you my general answer for most of my clients. What we want to do is we want to look at we want to look at what the cost is of refinancing. Okay, now there are some banks and institutions that'll say it's no cost. Be careful about it and make sure that what they're not doing is bearing the cost in the loan. If you are refinancing a $100,000 loan, then your new loan will be at $100,000. It's not going to be $105,000 and they say it's no cost. No, they buried $5,000 of cost in the loan. Okay, so it is costs. But my point is that I want you to understand what's the cost of getting into the loan, the new loan. And what's the savings you're going to save at the new rate if you're going to be able to lower the interest rate? There's a couple things to think about here. Is that let's assume that it's going to cost you $3,000 in fees to get into a new loan, but it's going to save you $200 a month. Okay, so in a year and a half time, you'll recover that. So you're going to save $200 a month. That's $2,400 a year. So in a year and a half, you'll be at $3,600 saved. It cost you $3,000 to get in the loan. So in a year and a half time, you've recovered the costs. So hopefully someone's following the math. I know I'm doing math fast for you, but what I'm getting at is this. Typically, if I can get and recover my loan fees, the additional fees for the refinance within 2 years, I'll look at going through a refinance. Now, the other thing that I will do, and I did this on my house, and we don't have a lot of debt. And at some point we'll just pay it off. But here's what I did on this house is I refinanced, we got a lower rate. I didn't save anything on the payment, but what I did is I knocked 8 years off the loan. So I took a shorter term. So when you think about refinancing, you might look at it and say, wait, I'm in a 30-year term. What would happen if I went to a 20-year term? Maybe I don't save a lot. Maybe I don't save a lot in the sense of the payment, but I save a ton in the sense of the interest. I was doing this with a client the other day, and he said they were looking at the possibility of refinancing. God, if I can let me see if I can pull up the numbers really quickly. So they were refinancing, and I was running some numbers for them on the refinance, and here it is. So if they refinanced, their actual payment would actually go up. It'd go up about $300. So they'd be paying more on a monthly basis to get the loan paid off. But they would pay the loan off 10 years earlier. 10 years earlier. They got 10 years off the loan by paying a couple $100 more a month at a lower interest rate. But here's the big deal, is that by cutting that much off, where's the number? Come on. So by cutting off the number, cutting off the loan by 10 years, it saved them $182,000 in interest. So yeah, they paid a little extra every month, but because they shortened the loan, they saved almost $200,000 in interest. Okay, so we need to play the math. We need to play the math of it. When we talk about just a straight refinance, the easy thing is this. I look at the cost of the loan to get the new refinance loan. I look at the savings on the monthly basis, and I look and say, can I recover the costs within 2 years? If I can recover the costs within 2 years, I'll consider going through the hassle of a refinance. Now, that assumes I'm going to be in the house for longer than 2 years. If this is a short-term deal, I wouldn't go through the headache of it, okay? Also, once I know that, then I can start playing with the numbers and say, what happens if I shorten the loan? What happens if I go from a 30-year, because I want my clients in 15 or 20-year loans. I don't want you, or shorter. I don't want you in 30-year loans. Most people only keep their house for 7 years. And that first part, if you keep your house for 7 years and you're paying the loan, most of it's going to interest and you're not paying the principal down. Let's get the principal paid down. Let's build some equity and make it happen. So that's that question on refinancing the house. Hopefully this is helping y'all. Jen Jones, yeah, everything's negotiable. Everything's a negotiation. Hey, Rex is in the house. How you doing, buddy? So good to see you. And all right, so now this next question is a little more complicated, but I'm going to walk through it really quickly. Say, I'm going into business. I'm going into business. What kind of entity should I be? Now, before I say anything, I am not your CPA. I am not your attorney. This is my CYA. I'm not giving specific advice. I am giving general thoughts around this, and you need to seek specific counsel, legal counsel, tax counsel in your state to make sure that it fits for you. But let's just talk some general terms, okay? In general, you've got a couple of different entities. The first type of entity is something called a sole proprietorship. That's the easiest entity. It's the beauty behind it is it's easy to set up. You don't really have to do anything. You can do a DBA, fictitious name statement. It goes on your personal tax return, and that's it. Here's the downside to it. It's on your personal tax return, for one. Two, you have no legal shielding. You've got no protection, no wall up to protect you from anything. Okay, but it's the easiest thing. If we're not sure whether the business is going to take off, if we're not sure that this is going to, you're just starting a side hustle and you're not sure and you're testing it out, you can start out as a sole proprietorship and just leave it there for a little while. Now, once you start to grow, you will want to convert or change entity, probably to an LLC. And an LLC is something that's going to give you protection. It's a separate entity from you, okay? It's a separate entity from you, but it's going to be a little more costly to set up. You need an agreement. You're going to have to file a separate tax return if you have more than one member in the LLC, okay? What we typically want people to do is start with an LLC, and they stay as an LLC until they start to make money beyond $50,000, $60,000. Once they start to get to a point where they're netting $50,000, $60,000, we then typically will convert it to another type of entity called an S corporation. The S corporation will then, we can do that for tax reasons, and it's a little more complicated than I'll go in here. I'll go deeper on my show. In fact, I'll do a whole episode on entity selection where I draw it out for you, everything. But once you start to get to a point where you're netting $60,000, $50,000, $60,000, we start looking at using an S corporation to reduce the amount of taxes that you're going to pay to Social Security, Medicare, and that type of thing, and doing that. So you've got that, and then you have a corporation. Just a regular corporation. Most businesses aren't running that way anymore because of the tax. The tax structure is too rough. You pay tax at the corporation level, and then you pay tax personally when you take it out. You're paying twice the tax. And trust me, with the new tax plan, if it goes into play, now let me be clear, we don't know whether it's going to go into play. It's just proposed, and there's a lot that has to go through before it's ever going to take hold. So, but tax is going to go up anyway. So we've got to be careful about how we choose our entity. So first things first, sole proprietor is the easiest, but there is no liability protection. LLC would be the next thing to do. It gives you some protection. It's a little more complicated, but it is a lot more flexible. From there, we would probably convert to an S corporation. Once you start to get legs under your business and you're making $60,000, $40,000 to $60,000 a year, so we can give you a salary, reduce the Medicare or Social Security tax. You have a C corporation that we don't necessarily use because of the tax structure for it. And then you have partnerships. You can do limited partnerships or general partnerships. I don't recommend those right now. Limited partnerships they'll use for real estate sometimes, but now we use LLCs. General partnerships, you have no shielding of liability, and in fact, you're liable for all your partners' liabilities. So we got to be careful with that. So those are entities, but the things to think about is sole proprietor, LLC, S corporation. They're done in that order. generally, and it's specific to your situation. I'll do a full episode. I'll draw it out for you, and I'll give you the pros and cons and specifically what you need to do. So those were the questions that I had from the show that have come in. Do me a favor. Here's the deal. I want to keep answering questions for you. I want to bring some of you on and coach you, help you. Let's work through some things. Let's keep things rocking and rolling. So DM me, send me some notes, send me your questions, get in the group, get into the Affluent Entrepreneur Facebook group. Let's have a dialogue there. Send me some DMs. Let's do this thing. I want to bring you up on the show. I'm going to try to make this a semi-regular occurrence, these Financial Friday conversations where we can answer some questions, help you out, move you through this stuff so we can keep you moving. I want this year to be the year that you shift and change your financial destiny, because I truly believe that financial independence, it's a birthright. We just need to understand how to go out and claim it. So let's do that. And let's not do it alone. You're not in isolation. You're not siloed. I'm with you every step of the way. And so is the whole community of affluent entrepreneurs. We're going to get you off the treadmill. We're going to put you out in affluence, and not opulence. Opulence is something else. Affluence, a life that's meaningful, impactful, fruitful, and peaceful. All right, as an entrepreneur. So keep them coming in. I will collect the questions, and we'll keep doing this. And like I said, I want to do full episodes of Q&A. I want to do it live with you. I'll bring people on Instagram. I'll bring people on Facebook. We'll do interviews, and we'll help solve the problems and keep you moving forward. So you all have a blessed rest of your day, rest of your Friday. I've got an interview coming up shortly that I got to get prepared for, and then I'll be out of town next week. All right, my wife and I, we're celebrating 10 years married. 10 years married. Actually, tomorrow we're going up to see my son and his wife for the baby shower, because within 60 days I'm going to be a granddad, and then next week we're taking off to celebrate 10 years married, and then I'll be back. So, but I'll try to do something from there. And always great to have you on. I'm blessed when I get a chance to share time with each and every one of you, and I don't take it lightly that you are taking time from your life to spend it here with me live. So blessings to you all. If there's anyone out there that you know needs to get some financial advice, that needs to really get their money game up, then send them our way. Go to the Affluent Entrepreneur Show. Let them listen to the show. Let them get dialed in. Let them know that they have a safe place to have sane conversations around money, wealth, a place where you're not going to be demonized because you want to make money, because money is going to make a difference. So in that, so you guys have an incredible rest of your day, a blessed weekend, and we'll talk soon. If something comes up, reach out, because I'm just a text away, a DM away, a comment away, and we'll make it happen. All right. See y'all. You have a great one. Cheers. Bye.